Hi everyone, Raphael Harry here, and you're listening to White Label American, a podcast where we hear stories from an immigrant or two, sometimes more. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of White Label American. I am your host, Raphael Harry, and I would like to give a shout out to all our all our workers on the front lines, and our people out there fighting for our rights. We love each and every one of you, and we just appreciate all the good things that you guys are doing, and we're saying thank you from the bottom of our hearts. So today's guest is someone who, we every time people complain about the algorithms and the big brothers watching you from YouTube and Google and Facebook and all that. And I get it. And sometimes I've been that guy, and then sometimes it works out for good. And I have a spouse in Germany, and who's from Germany, I mean, and so I try to watch lots of content from Germany because my daughter, she was made in Germany, but she's from Brooklyn. And, I want her to connect to our German side of the family. And so, in trying to expose her to content, every time I'm looking for content from Germany on YouTube, and I'm always watching people who live in Germany and all that. And then one day, YouTube recommends this video, and it says Soldier of Life. And I'm like, huh? This looks interesting, but who's this guy? It's a black guy, though. Oh, well, okay, maybe I'll give it a try. Maybe. And I was quite bored, I felt like maybe I don't want to jump into the YouTube dark hole, the rabbit hole thing. And then, I watched one video and I was like, wow, it's quite good. It's quite interesting. And then maybe I watch another video. My daughter was quite, she was in a good mood. So she wasn't like, hey, Dad, you're supposed to, she's going to be 2 this coming Sunday. And, she usually demands the remote. It's supposed to be my time, and she played along, and I got to watch like 4 or 5 videos that day, and I was like, yeah, this guy actually did the stuff that I used to dream of doing when I was in Navy that I almost did before I settled in Brooklyn. So without much further ado, I introduce Kris Carton, who's popularly known as Kris, the Soldier of Life. And he's a guy who his videos are about honesty and energy that is just I don't know, you can't be sad watching his videos, because he just brings an authenticity that makes me appreciate a brother when I just watch his videos. And I just knew that there was no way, because I watched him for about 2 months, and I was afraid, like, maybe I should reach out to him. And I was like, I don't know, maybe he might not respond. He might be a big dude already in the game. But I was like, no, I just got to reach out to this dude. But when you watch, go check out his videos on YouTube, and you understand why I say this. But he's a guy who I just appreciate him. He's an Army veteran. And he's done things that I believe a whole lot of us wish we've at least given a try before saying, okay, I'm not going to do it. But he went out there and did it. And he's taking steps that I believe makes the world a better place. So he's also a parent. And his daughter is about in the same age range as mine. So there are a lot of similarities that I saw in him, and I'm like, yeah, this is someone who I just had to bring him on. And I'm honored to have him in the studio today, and it's just a pleasure. So thank you for coming on the podcast. And how you doing today, Kris?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for that intro. I couldn't have done it any better myself. I don't even know what to say. I'm all flushed now. I'm nervous, but no, I'm doing very well. Thank you very much.
And you deserve more than that, but I was just blown away, and I was so honored when you responded almost immediately after I sent the email out, because I'm people think that I'm just this guy who's so bold when I walk into rooms and I can approach everybody. Yeah, I've made Jon Stewart giggle after I gave a speech once, and yeah, and he recognizes me anytime he sees me. But
Mhm.
I'm still human. I get scared.
Yeah,
I get stage fright.
that's
So,
good. Yeah,
so yeah,
that's good.
I do hesitate before I send out emails or try to contact people. And yeah, so I struggled before I reached out to you. And yeah, I just
Mhm.
want people to know that it's not like I don't go through that phase of struggling before
Yeah,
approaching
I
people.
think the hugest thing with that is like just like you said, like I think we all do that,
Hmm.
but it's all about you doing it, and the worst that somebody can say is no. And
Yes.
kind of like what you said, the big thing for me is like even when I started my channel, we need to look out for each other. You know what I mean? And I'm always down for, if anybody's trying to do something bigger than themselves, I'm always down to help. Always, especially if they, look like us. So yeah, I don't think, shoot, man, you go through life being scared to do stuff, man, you're not gonna really get anything done. You're not gonna be recognized by anybody. So you got to do that scary stuff.
That's true. So let's begin. So where was Kris born, and what was his childhood like?
Kris was actually born in New York. He was born in Mount Vernon, New York.
Oh.
He grew up. I think he was there till he was about 6, and at that time, late '80s, early '90s, there was a situation with my brother growing up. He's 10 years older than me, where my mother decided that it was better for us to move to a different place of the world. So we moved to Florida, and where I basically grew up. I was there until I was 24 years old, I want to say. Yeah, about 24. Um, not childhood, but my teenage years weren't so great. So at the age of 24, I was like, I got to do something bigger and better than myself. So I joined the Army. And then, yeah, that's where the soldier part of Soldier of Life came from. Yeah.
So New York to Florida, it's a move that people normally make at after retirement. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
people that I
yeah,
know,
yeah,
and you made that move a lot early in life. So
yeah.
the next question I'm going to ask is about your favorite childhood memory,
My
and
favorite childhood memory.
yeah, will that come
I,
from New
I
York
would
or will that come from Florida?
It would that's difficult, but I'd say childhood memory would be from New York. So, being from New York, my mother, like I said, she was there in the '80s,
Mm-hmm.
being born during like the she was practicing Muslim at the time, like
Yeah.
during the whole Black Panther movement and stuff. So, our family was very close when I was young, like super close, and we had a nana, grandma, who had this big house, and all the family used to come there, when we were very young. So those were my best childhood memories, like really just having all of my family come together as a kid, and it's funny, we don't think kids remember this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but they kind of do,
Yeah.
and really just having everybody there. And then once we moved to Florida, it's nice, it's sunny, it's different, but that sense of family was kind of gone.
Mm.
So really, my childhood memories, being in New York, going to New Rochelle, and having my mom take me to all these different places, just having that sense of family, also within the community. I
Yeah.
think too, like with New York, it's different than the rest of the world. Like there's more of a sense of community there than there are many other places in the world. Like I have a lot of family in Florida too, but it's not exactly the same like it is in New York. You don't have so much space, so you guys enjoy each other's company and stuff
Yeah.
more than like having like a big house or something like that. And I'll never forget that stuff.
Yeah. It's amazing how it people tend to think that kids do not remember stuff, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
memories aren't formed yet, so it's easy
yeah.
to overlook certain things, and people just like their kids or your kids, and they just
Hmm.
downplay that. So that it's one of the things that I take into consideration, even though my daughter is pretty young, but
Hmm.
I'm very cognizant of that when I'm doing things. Like
Hmm.
sometimes I make mistakes. Yeah, we're humans. We'll always make mistakes.
Yeah.
But there are things that I do, and I see her like because kids are sponges, they soak. That's how they
Yeah.
get. They don't learn from you telling them don't do this or do that. They learn
Yeah.
from what they see you do or what they hear you
Mm-hmm.
say or what they hear around
Yeah.
them, and then they just soak it up. And I see
Soak it
her
all up.
repeat
Yeah.
something, and it's like wow. Like yesterday her mom was exercising and playing one of these the TV exercise using one of those programs, and I'm trying to sleep. Right? I ain't doing that. I'm like, so go be with your mama. And her mom is following the instructions, and then mom starts laughing, and I'm hearing,
Mm-hmm.
and mom comes to tell me like, hey, look at what your daughter was doing, and I'm like, what? And she's like, sits down on the couch for a few minutes, and then starts repeating word by word everything, the instructions that the instructors giving. It's like down, you down, up, you up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So she just finds
Yeah.
that fun, but it's hilarious. Like she's just picking it. So that's why I play like
Yeah.
songs from different languages. Like so she can sing Moana
Mm-hmm.
in Hawaiian. She can sing the French version. She can sing, and she's just going like that. Hey, she's just going, and people are like,
Yeah.
but they remember. People
Yeah.
don't people underestimate how kids they remember. They remember. I took her out once,
They do.
and I just let her like, hey, walk into the house, and she walked into the apartment. The first time she started pointing to the door. But she remembered because she knows
Mm-hmm.
every
She
time
remembered.
you bring
Yeah.
her home, she knows where you're taking her. That's my house. You
Mm-hmm.
don't take me past my house. I'm going home now. This is my house. I'm like, you can't make a full sentence, but she knows my house. She's like pointing to
Yeah.
at the door. That's my house. Take me in now. Your
Yep.
job is take me in
Yep.
now.
Yep.
So they know.
Just like you said, like the sponge thing, they just do repetition.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we do,
Yep.
everything we say, the way we act,
Mm-hmm.
repetition. They
That's
do
it.
the exact same
And
thing.
that's how
Very
the
true.
character starts to get. That's how they start forming the character. So yeah, it's beautiful. So yeah, and that community thing about New York, I think that's one thing that people always tend to forget about the New York area when
Mm-hmm.
they trash New York because it's easy to just New Yorkers are rude and all that, but
Yeah,
they,
yeah,
they forget about that too. Like with a compressed area, it's easy for community to be built because you get to see
yeah,
people all the
yeah,
time. So
yeah.
so yeah. So you've already mentioned Florida, and let's play with Florida a little bit.
All right.
So growing up in Florida, you know,
Mm-hmm.
life took a different turn for you, and then you now took a big step, what's considered a big step
Mm-hmm.
by going into the military. But
Mm-hmm.
what made the military the best option for you, and especially the army? Did you
Mm-hmm.
consider any other branch, or was it just why the
Yeah.
army?
So that's actually a good story. So when I was first going to join the military, I think I was like 20 something, and I told my mom, I come home with a little packet, like the brochure. It's like, oh, join the army, be all you could be. My
Yeah.
mom was like, absolutely not. Like, no, she was like, because I was really smart as a kid, and she just didn't want me to waste my talents and use my brain power because I was sorry to my big brother, but I was the smartest kid, and she wanted to see me do something well. You know what I mean? And like to use my brain for something, and she thought I'd just be like shooting and fighting all day.
Yeah.
So when that first happened, I had a cousin that was in the army that I knew of, so that's why I kind of associated with that. But what happened was at that time when 9/11 kind of was first kicking off, I think he was the infantry, but a lot of his friends start like passing away in front of him, and he was so distraught from PTSD
Mm-hmm.
that like when he came home, like he was really bad. Like he had like his he would shake at night and like everything would scare him and stuff like that. So seeing him being like that, I didn't want to do it. So I took like 2 years, 3 years, and I was just like, no, I'm not doing this. So after a while, with the Army thing. I'll try to sum it up. But there was a point in my life where my girlfriend, we were living together. My long-term girlfriend. She was going to work, and we lived in an apartment where you got to park like catty corner, like diagonal. And I wished her off while going to work. And when I looked outside, we bought a car that didn't have reverse. And I seen my girlfriend pushing the car backwards with her left foot like Fred Flintstone, you know? And I was just like, dude, I got to do something better. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, I have to do something better. And that's when I started thinking about options and stuff. So the Army thing came up again. And before the Army, like I went to the recruiter station. And in Tampa, Florida, they have like all 4 branches right here: like Air Force, Marine, Navy, Army. So I went to the Air Force. I looked at the Navies, and I was like, that uniform? No, I'm not. I don't like boats. I'm not staying in a submarine. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry.
The cutest uniform?
The Marines. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. The dress uniform looks good, but like the everyday sailor uniform at the time, it was horrible. Like the all whites, I'm not wearing that. I'm too dark to be in all white. So then I went to the Air Force. And the Marines, to me, I was like, dude, I'm not that hardcore. I wasn't fit yet. And I went to the Air Force and I sat there. And I remember this guy coming in there, or this girl. And the recruiter talked to this girl, like, she's like, oh, okay, yeah, da-da-da-da-da. Like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do this. And they talked for a long time. And I went with my girlfriend. So me and my girlfriend sat in the waiting area. And we waited for them to finish talking. So they were talking for like 20 minutes while we were there. I was like, okay, whatever, like I understand. So the girl left, and me and my girlfriend and I were sitting there, and the recruiter didn't say anything to me. He didn't look my way.
Wow.
He didn't say anything. Needless to say, like, you know, obviously, you know, and I'm not going to say the race thing was involved, but I sat there for, I think, 20 minutes, like when nobody was there, and he said nothing to me. And I told my girlfriend, I was like, you know what? If this dude doesn't even have the decency to acknowledge me, I'm out of here. I don't want to even be a part of this organization. I went over to the Army thing right after that, and I was like, well, let's see what they're talking about. As soon as I walk in the door, hey, man, what's up? Good morning. How are you? Come on in. And it's that small piece of courtesy. That's why I joined the military for 7 years. That's why I joined the Army for 7 years. The only reason. And
I mean, it's funny to me for 2 reasons, because you know, the Air Force is always seen as a snob. They always had this stuff. It's like, what's your credit score? Oh, nah, man. What's this? Are you good at golf? That's my boy always had it. Are you good at golf? Nah, we can't take you, man. We need people who are good at golf. They had to add one extra thing to like disqualify you. Like that's what someone told me like way before, like when I was thinking of joining, and I was like, oh, what? They're gonna ask me about golf? Really? I've never been able to afford standing even close to a golf course gate. What the hell? Some of it I knew. Now I know he made it up, but but the guy just told me some stuff, and I was like, what? Air Force? No, I'm scared. So it was after I'd signed up for the Navy, and I was, I think one day I showed up to the recruiting station. You know, they're always all together in the same building. Yeah. And I think there was once I showed up early. I always showed up early for the what's it called again? The depth training, and my Navy recruiters took their time to show up whenever they wanted to show up, but the Marines always, oh my goodness, those guys showed up way too early. Man, the guy saw me and he was like, hey, you already signed up for the Navy? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, too late. You can't be a real man. I was like, what? I would have made you a real man. You should have joined us. Would have made you a real man. I was like, I've never questioned my manhood before. He's like, you don't want to be a real man? And I'm like, I was the wrong person for him to be asking those questions, because I kept giving the wrong answers. I'm pretty sure I'm a real man. I don't doubt that. That dude wanted to chew me out. He was like in my face, we will make you a real man. He's going all that. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. I'm pretty sure I'm a real. Yeah, just, you know, like, I think I almost said, if you let your wife be with me or something like that, Yeah, I'm pretty sure she'll confirm that. Oh man, that guy was close to like hitting me or something. Yeah, he was ready. He was. The fight was about to break out. Like, yeah, I was like, I don't understand why you're gonna tell me that if I join you guys, I'll be a real man. I never understood Marines, so I was with that rookie mentality, and I'd barely been in the United States up to 3-4 months. So I was like, what? Why is he telling me about being a real man?
That's that Marine.
But
that's a Marine stuff.
Luckily, my recruiter showed up and was like, hey, come. Next time, just avoid that. If he talks, just say yes, no, just run away. Okay? Don't make no conversation. It's all right. I was like, oh, but why? And he's like, don't worry. When you go to battle, you need someone to take a bullet. That's why we have Marines. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's like, that's why we have Marines. I don't think he should have told me that either, but that was what he expected. Yeah, recruiters can be, they can be something else. Then another day I showed up early, and it was the Air Force recruiter that met me, and he was like, hey, come to my office. And he was like, if you had showed up to us first, look at what you could have gotten. Look at what you could have gotten. And I was like, what? What? Can I switch? Why am I joining the Navy? I want to join the Air Force. He was like, yeah, you really sure? Because we can make it happen. And I was like, I don't know if I can. He's like, oh, yeah, just tell them that you don't want to sign for the Navy anymore. I was like, can I do that? I don't know. I'm brand new in America. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, this guy, no, okay, you're too scared, man. You got to go in there. Tell him, like, hell no, I'm not joining anymore. Like, that kind of, I was like, what? Man, they were pushing me around. Nah. Yeah, now the recruiters, they had too much fun with me. Now I look back, I'm like, no. Even my Navy recruiters, they didn't even tell me about the ASVAB. I didn't even know about that. They just walked me into
ASVAB,
They just walked me into the. They took me to because I joined in Virginia, and they took me to Richmond. They're like, oh, you're gonna go there for medical tests, and you're in perfect shape and everything. I was like, okay. They took me with 3 other kids. We showed up. They're like, oh, just go into this room. Don't talk to nobody. Face the computer. If you have any question, raise your hand up. I said, what kind of medical test is that? It's not a medical test. You're taking the ASVAB. I said, what's the ASVAB?
Wow.
So you don't know what the ASVAB
is?
Like, you're asking too many questions. Just go. I'm like, I don't understand. What am I doing with the computer? And then they're like, who's your recruiter? I'm like, he just dropped us and left.
Oh, yeah, that's what recruiters do.
And,
that's what they do.
And the guy like shaking his head, like, just go, put in your social security, and he's like, come on, go. And I'm like, well, okay. And I get to the computer and I start figuring out. And so, I couldn't even look at my scores because I was like, oh my goodness, I took a test. I must have failed. And I'm there, and then I start seeing kids crying the next day, like, oh my God, this is the third time I'm taking the test. Oh my God, I had a tutor, and I'm like, we had a tutor too? What? This is hell. Oh my goodness. Oh, I must have embarrassed my family. I must have brought shame onto everybody. Oh man, I don't want to go home no more. I don't want to see nobody. I want to return back to Nigeria. I was embarrassed. And then one of the kids turns to me and he's like, hey man, you've been quiet. Everybody here knows their scores. What'd you get? I was like, I failed. They're like, yeah, what'd you get? I was like, I'm pretty sure I failed. They're like, come on. And one of the kids just pulled my card and looked at it. He's like, oh, you got 69. How many times have you taken the test? My first time. What? I was like, that's my first time. And you scored 69? Who's your tutor? How much did you pay? And all this. And I was like, I don't have a tutor. Really? You that good? Are you trying to be an IT? What is an IT? The only job my cousin who was been in the Navy before just told me about was supply. He was like, oh, you sound like a guy who's good in supply. So yeah, I think supply is good for you. So, you're like, okay, yeah. So that was all I had in my mind. Like, if it was like, when they ask you what you want to do, just tell them supply. Keep saying supply. That's all I came in there with. And now I'm freaking out. I failed the test, and man, I was learning a whole lot of stuff on the go. I was like, wow.
Oh,
and those kids were like, wow, he's got 69. he scored 69.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that good or bad? Or like, what? It's like 69 over 1,000. I don't even know. Freaking out there. Like, I don't know if this is good. That man is great. You should ask for OS. Like, no, yeah, OS. No. IT. Yo, no. Yeah, crypto. And they're like, listing jobs. And I'm like, what? My
And
head
you're
is
like, what?
exploding. I can't tell if this is good or bad. I've been crying inside all this time, and they're like, oh man, you're so brilliant. You need to come teach me so I can take the next one. I'm like, what did you score? Oh, I scored 19. How did you score 19? It's your third time. I'm like, geez. I'm like, wow. Well, I'm beginning to feel better now. Yeah, it's like, oh, I paid someone to teach me too. I'm like, oh man. Well, I'm sorry, kid. I don't know what to say, but can I have my card back? Yeah.
Yeah. That military thing is a beast. If you don't know, man, you just go in there.
Oh my goodness. Boy. Yeah, that was a whole welcome to America. I think Netflix should come talk to me. I think I have a series right there.
Do the real version. The 2020 version.
It's a real version right there. It's a real version. Man, it's
oh man.
So now you joined the army, and what was because now when you join the army, it's getting into a whole different world entirely that many Americans do not get to see. And now, what was the first shock for you after going through basic and then getting into? Because I know basic on its own is a whole different.
Yeah, I don't know. The basic thing, but the basic thing. Oh my god. I'll try to get after basic, but the one thing with the basic thing, like all the workout stuff, it sucks. Obviously you're not used to training like that. And I'll never forget, there was one day, like a very big moment, where my drill sergeant, like somebody did something in the chow hall, like eating.
Yeah.
And I got a cookie, and he's like, we don't eat sweets, none of that stuff. He's like, if you see it, you better not touch it, because if you do, I'm net tearing everybody up. So somebody got a cookie, right? And then he's like, oh, you get cookies? He's like, don't worry about it. All of y'all gonna get it when you get back. He's like, I'm gonna make somebody cry. I'm gonna make somebody cry. He's like, I'm gonna work you until I'm tired of looking at you. And I was like, no, he can't work us that late. It was dinner chow. It was like 5 o'clock, so it'd be getting dark soon. That man made us work out for 3 hours straight, and there were people crying.
Yep.
And like this one guy, like the biggest guy, was like all this good stuff, And I was just like, just for one person, And there was one moment where I snapped a little bit, where I was in where was I? I woke up, right? I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and wake up was like 4:30. And I'm sitting there in this place, and I'm like, why am I here? Like, what did I do to get here? Like, and I wake up, and like, we got to clean before we go, to PT or whatever. And I wake up, and I think I had a mental breakdown. But I was like, everybody get up, we gotta clean. And then I'm sweeping and I'm dancing. I'm like, why am I here? This is dumb. And I broke the broom and I threw it across. It was horrible. But I think the biggest moment, like after basic and all that good stuff, was really like, you don't think about the contract so much. Like, I think my first contract was like 6 years. Like, I took the longest contract.
Okay.
And it doesn't play in your mind every day, but like, you can't quit.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like, because before the army, every job that I've had, I think the longest one I had was like for a year, and I would work a year and then something happened and I leave. Work a year, something happened and I leave. And I never was really trying to build a career on anything. I didn't really have like goals. I always felt like if something gets too hard, if my boss pisses me off, I'm out of there, peace, whatever. But the thing about this is, like, being in the army, there were some times where I would start quitting on myself a little bit, but very early, I realized that you can't quit doing everything. Even if it's hard, even like with PT, I sucked at running. Like, I was horrible at running. But even if I want to quit running, like during a PT test or something, I had to finish it.
Yeah.
And it was that was like a big milestone for my life. It's like realizing that, there are things that get hard and it's not always going to be sweet and It's not going to look good for everybody, but you have to keep trying. You have to keep pushing it until you can get to what you want to do, or realize that you're not going to quit. Don't tell everybody else. It doesn't matter what you say to everybody else, but tell yourself that you're not going to quit. And that's kind of what I did with my YouTube channel too. It's like when I first started, like, you get like 10 views from your mom, and like, your girlfriend shares it to 6 people that don't want to see it.
Yeah.
And then after a while, something happens, and then it's like, wow, like people want to see it or whatever. But I told myself, like, one day, like, I made like a pact to myself. I was like, I'm gonna try to do this. Like, I don't care what happens in the beginning. Everybody sees it now after, but it's like, I don't care what happens in the beginning. Just do it, and you cannot quit on yourself. And I really, if it wasn't for the Army, I wouldn't be like that. I'd be like, man, this sucks. Like, this is hard. I don't want to do this. I wouldn't do it. But yeah, that's one big thing that I got like right after the basic stuff, and I realized really fast, like real fast.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we all can take from our time in the military, because once you come to that realization that you have to go the extra mile to get fired, you can't just say I quit. Even in boot camp, you can't just say I quit and they kick you. Nah, they're gonna keep you there. They're gonna keep you there.
It's gonna take a while too. It's gonna take a while.
Yeah, you say, oh, I just got injured, so I'm not getting. They're gonna put you like in the Navy. They got a ship for those people. Like you're not getting out of boot camp in 2 months. All right, you move to ship 17. You're gonna stay in ship 17 for a while. You go there like, man, how long you been? I've been here for 4 months. What? Yeah, I can't pass the swim. Okay, you're gonna be there. Like, people testing out, gone, move. Yeah, but they're gonna wait for you. Like, they're gonna wait for you, and then one day you're gonna come to that realization and say, you know what? I'm done. You're gonna go up to Chief. Chief, I want to pass the test today. Like, are you finally ready? Yeah. I'm mad. Okay, let's go.
That's how it is, man. That's how it is.
It almost happened to me in boot camp. I passed the stream, but the dead man float. You're supposed to do dead man float for 5 minutes, and I always did mine for up to 4 minutes, and then I come out like I stop. I can't hold my breath for 5 minutes. But I could do it, but it's just a mental thing. And they were like, you can't graduate because the last test on your last week, there's a test that you're supposed to do that graduates you from recruit into a sailor. So it happens on the last week, and that turns you into a sailor. And they were like, you can't do that test, so you have to leave your division. So they moved me and a couple of guys who couldn't pass runs and swims, and people were like really disappointed in my division. So so they make you call your family, like, you call them and tell them like, don't come to my graduation. And how to do that. So when I did that, it was mentally that's when that twitch came out from my brain, because calling and saying, do not come to my graduation. They're like, why? And all your drill instructors are standing there, so you can't like bullshit your answer. You're like, I cannot pass. There's something I cannot pass right now, and so I'm not going to the next round. They're like, but I'm like, I know I'll pass. I know I can pass. Now I'm beginning to come up with all the answers in my, like, I know I can pass. I will pass. It's Friday. Graduation is on Friday, and I will pass before Friday, and I'll make graduation. But based on the instructions, I'm supposed to tell you that do not waste your money and buy the ticket and come on Friday. But I'll pass. I'm promising you all I'll pass, and I'll make graduation on Friday. They're like, thank you, that's enough time. Hang up the phone. It's like you're in prison now. I'm like, hey, let me just tell them that I'll pass. They should still make it. They're like, no, the rules say, this is the rule book. It says tell your family that they give up their tickets on coming, because we are not sure if you can make it, so they shouldn't waste their money. Because if they come to graduation and you haven't made it, then So I'm like, dang. So now they're like, pack your bags, move to ship 17. I'm like, what? No, I'm going to take the test tomorrow. They're like, but you take it on ship 17. I'm like, dang it. So now I go to ship 17. I show up there. There are people there who've been there for like 6 months, 4 months, 3 months. I'm like, hell no. This This place smells of failure. It smells. No. I'm out of here. So the next day, next morning, I'm in the pool. They're like, yeah, only the guys who have to swim have to go first. I'm like, oh, god dang it. I'm like pulling the water. There's another guy who was like the only Mexican who they used to make fun of him. They're like, how can you be Mexican? You can't swim. He's like, I can't swim. I can't breathe in the water. And as soon as you throw him into the water, he starts screaming, I can't breathe. He doesn't even try for 1 minute. He's like, I can't breathe. So they put him with us. So I'm like, man, why you shouldn't be here? You shouldn't be here too. And we're like, both of us were now complaining. And then they're like, all right, they tested us. Man, as soon as they put me in the water, I held my breath for 5 minutes. They put me, that was it.
Cool.
5 minutes, that was it. They're like, dude, cool. And that's the first, as soon as I came out, the senior chief looked at me, like, why were you even here? That was the first, like, why were you even here? Like, all these guys, they don't even last up to 1 minute, but you're the first person, you just came in 5 minutes.
Very cool.
I'm like, I had no answer. They're like, man, so now I'm getting chewed out again. I'm like, man, I just passed. I can't even get congratulations. I'm getting chewed out. Go stand over there. I'm like, God.
No,
like, go stand over there. I'm like, man, like, come on. And but when I got back to the ship, people were clapping, and the people were like, hey, man, but you just came yesterday. You came last night. And you passed already. I'm like, yeah, I do not plan to stay with you guys. So I gotta get out.
I've been there, man. I've been there.
So it was like, wow. Like, well, so you gonna graduate? When are you graduating? I said, Friday with my division, because they're still graduating on Friday. I plan to be there. So they're like, wow. So yeah, so on Friday, but apparently you're not still allowed to make that phone call, because once you've made that call, it's done. So I never got the redemption call, but it was fine.
Yeah.
So I still on Friday I showed up. My division already matched, but they allowed me to take my seat back. Myself and I think out of the 6 of us who got sent to ship 17, 4 of us passed and made it back. So we took the test with another division. We were stragglers with a different group, passed our test, and then made it to graduation ceremony. Like, we didn't sleep. So we didn't sleep for like we went Wednesday night. You got to stay awake. So Wednesday night into Friday morning, we're all awake. So made it to graduation ceremony, and then by then you're like, I'm no longer a recruit. Nobody can call me recruit anymore. Now I can talk to recruits. So yeah, I don't care no more. So I'll see back. So now move back to our regular ship. And by the time we got back in there, my drill instructor sees me. She's like, I knew it. You motherfuckers, you made it. Come on. I'm like, oh, you're allowed to hug us? Wow. It's really different now. As soon as you no longer get recruits, you can get hugs.
Side.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
This feels good. Like, yes, I'm in the Navy now. I'm in the Navy. Yes. I wish my family were here, but no, I don't even wish my family were here anymore. This is good. I got liberty too. It was so good.
Very
cool. I think nothing beats that memory of overcoming that setback. Yeah, so I think that's one thing that will always stay with me. So even every time I face a setback in life, and I remember that phone call. Having to go to that phone call, it's a very powerful moment. And sometimes I underplay it, but it's something that I think, this is the first time I've said it on the podcast, but I think people need to hear it and understand what that feeling felt like, because I had to hold back tears when I made that call.
Yeah.
Because it was a very disappointing moment, because I was so disappointed in myself. Like, man, I was holding my breath for 4 minutes plus. I know I did it for 4 minutes, 20 seconds at one point. And they're like, why couldn't you just wait? And I was like, I don't know. So, yeah.
I dig it. Yeah. Everybody want to know something like that.
Yeah.
Everybody want to know.
Oh, man. Good times. So, in the Army, you got to visit other countries. Through the Army, you got to visit other countries. So what was the first culture or the biggest culture shock that stood out to you in your time in the Army?
The culture shock, I would say, being around people, I'm going to just say it, be around white people the whole time. Like I wasn't used to. I can't dance around it too much, but like really like you know in Florida, like there's different kind of people everywhere, but it's like I have my own community, so it's like I see people that look like me all over the place every now and then,
Yeah.
or a lot of times. When I went to I got stationed in Washington for the first time. There it's the same thing, it's people everywhere, but there's still a community of different people, and you see that. In Germany, there wasn't no community. It was you know what I mean? The biggest culture shock, especially like coming here, being black, and this is the first time really like interacting with, like Caucasian people, if you want to call them that.
Hmm.
But the first time really like talking to them, interacting with them, dating them at the time or whatever. Um, I was so conscious of being black all the time that I would ask her if somebody was like, I remember there was a friend of mine. She was like, "Oh, you want to come to my house? We're gonna eat dinner. You can meet my mom." And I was like, "Okay, cool," but she knows I'm black, right? Like, like she's like, "Yeah, why does that matter?" And I was like, "Cause it does," like, and it didn't resonate with me to know that. I don't know. It just felt so different to be around a bunch of people where the color thing it didn't matter to them. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Not that it didn't matter other places, but that they weren't even thinking about it, that it wasn't even like a big deal at all. It's like if when I'm in America, it's like, oh my my Spanish homeboy or my black home friend or something like that. You gotta name all these colors and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean here it's like they don't see none of that at
Hmm.
all. And it's really weird. It's not weird to me now, but when I first got here, it was just really weird to like, see people. I'd see like a girl that was mixed. I was like, yeah, something, something. I remember I talked to some girl, like, yeah, I was like, what are you? Not what are you, but like, what's your ethnicity, like your parents or whatever. She's like, my mom's Cuban or something, or I don't know, Dominican, and my dad is German, and she had like this really brown complexion, and she's like, yeah, I'm just a normal white girl, and I was just like, in the eyes of America, you would be like,
Yeah.
you'd be mixed, but it's just different. And I was
I
like,
understand.
and that was the hardest part getting around that,
Hmm.
and it's still like, I don't think about it so much today, and just like, having a mixed daughter and stuff like that. Like, I don't really think about it so much anymore. I kind of think about how I want her to grow up and not really seeing that stuff. But like that part that was the biggest culture shock to me. It's really like, I'm walking around, I'm like, I'm black, right? Like, I don't know, and just being the only black person everywhere I went, that was the biggest culture shock. But yeah, now it's normal. I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I relate to that feeling because, like, first time I visited Munster, and I went to the Christmas market, and I was like looking around. I'm like, man, I'm the only black guy here. And
Yeah.
I'm like, is this person staring
Yeah.
at me because I'm black? Or just like admiring this
Yeah.
black sexy guy, or what? Is this a black sexy admiration, or is this like, what this black guy doing here? Like, is he coming to take our women or what? I don't know. Like, I can't tell. Is this a friendly admiration look or what? What am I
Mhm.
getting? But I think it was later I came to the realization that I've become so Americanized that this was
Mhm.
the first go to that came to my mind,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
like,
It's an American thing.
because once you've gotten into the American system, then you start seeing
Mhm.
outside of America like that, But when I first
Yeah.
arrived in America, I wasn't looking at everywhere like that.
Yeah.
But like when I got to Bahrain, I kind of broke out of it a little bit because Bahrain was so easy for me to adapt to Bahrain. Because when I was walking on the street,
Mhm.
I would see people and they would see me as a black person. They would like not me, like the
Mhm.
people from Sri Lanka, from other places, or even the Arabs. They were like not me, and I'm not back. And sometimes they felt cooler just seeing a black person, and
Yeah.
then that's
Yeah.
how like
Yeah.
sometimes I would just like hey ask for directions from them or like get
Mhm.
information. And I usually wore soccer jerseys. I used to wear soccer jerseys a lot back then. That was like my number
Mhm.
one thing to wear. So just by wearing a soccer jersey, if I was wearing my
Mhm.
one of my favorite teams, I'll get a response from a fellow fan. and conversation could
Mm-hmm.
get started. And they just but seeing a black guy wearing that, and then you're American, and then they're like, but that just seeing that I was black, I got so
Mm-hmm.
much info and so much good stuff happening. And like,
Yeah,
people be like, oh,
for
how long
sure.
have you been here? Like now, my fellow Navy guys be
Yeah,
like, how long you been here, man? How you know this place? You know, I'm like,
yeah.
I guess you're not privy to this information. They won't give you this information.
You need to know
Yeah,
basics. Yeah, and it's
you need to know how to decode, that smile or that nod, and then you just, hey, brother, I'm looking for, where to have a good time. They're like, don't go there. Everybody from Navy goes there, but you want to go
mm-hmm.
this place. Good time there. I said,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, thank you, brother.
Yeah,
Shukran.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then
And that's it's funny you said that too, because it's like if you don't leave, if you're an American and you don't leave America, you will never know like what you do, in the
mm-hmm.
way that you think. And it wasn't until I left, and I just like you said, and I'm so glad you said it, but when you get Americanized, the the Black in America thing is so different. Your mindset is so different, and once you leave, it's like you don't think of the world that way anymore. And it's like there was one instance when in Germany, I was at a store, or I was at a restaurant, and I had a girl with me, like a German girl, and I seen this Black guy, and he was with a German girl, whatever. And it's so that culture thing, like I seen him, he seen me, and he was coming into the restaurant. We were getting ready to leave, and I looked at him and I gave him like the head nod. We gave each other the head nod.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, brother, you can sit here." And then like the German girl's like, "What the hell is that?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Why do you always nod each other's heads when you see each other?" Like, if I was an American, I seen a German person, I wouldn't nod my head. I was like, "You don't understand the culture, though." Like,
Nah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like,
it's a universal black thing.
yeah,
You don't get on. If you don't know, you don't know. That's
yeah,
what I'm
exactly. Just like you said. If you don't know, I can't tell you.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know
it's
what to tell
difficult
you.
to
You don't know,
explain
you
it
don't know.
if you're not black. Yeah. Like when I was in Finland, I
Mm-hmm.
one of the few days I wasn't walking around with my Finnish hosts, and I came out. I was just on the street and I saw this other black guy. Because I wasn't in Helsinki. I was in a smaller town, Lahti, and this other black guy was coming across on the opposite direction, and he spotted me first, and I think I was listening to music or something while I was on the call or something, but I was distracted. Then I noticed like someone was staring at me, so I raised my head up and I saw him, and so I gave him the nod too, and he nodded back, and then he did the finger thing like he wanted to say something, so he said something, and I knew it wasn't in English, so like I was like, I'm not Finnish, I
Yeah.
don't speak Finn. And he was like, no, 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 no. And then he said, I was like, wait, that language sounds familiar. So now I'm trying to, my brain is reprocessing. I'm like, Francois. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
we. I was like, sorry. I'm like, dang. This is why I should have paid more attention in my French classes when I was a teenager, but I did not. I was a snob back then. But I was like, sorry, brother, I don't. No, Francois, no Francois. Yeah. He's like, oh, where are you from, brother? I said, I was born in Nigeria, but American. So, oh, nice, nice, nice. You live here? I said, no, visiting. Oh, and we had a conversation. We were able to make it work,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah, yeah.
And he told me he lived in the city. I was like, oh, nice, nice.
Very
So he
cool.
was from Cameroon. So I was like, oh, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
you see, we love fighting each other every now and then, but we share but we outside now, But hey, yeah, I think it was probably the day I was leaving the next day. Unfortunately, otherwise would have had a drink. But yeah, I was like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
well, nice to meet you, brother. And we shook hands. Good, nice to meet you. And yay, and it was
Very
nice.
cool.
But I think he was happy he saw another black guy in the city, and
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
but it was from the
Definitely.
nod, and had a nice conversation and moved on. And I was like, hey, made his day, made my day, and we made it work. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Very
so
cool.
there are people like, I see black guys. I know someone put it on his Facebook one day, like, oh, his black thing, we do the nod. And I'm like, yeah, man, but it works because he thought it was only in the United States that black guys do that. Like,
Yeah.
bro, it's
Nah,
universal.
that's
It's
all over the world, brother.
universal. it's universal because I've done it
Yeah.
even in Cologne. I was in went to no in Dortmund, the medieval
Mhm.
Christmas medieval Christmas market event, and
Mhm.
you're walking around. You know when someone is staring at you, you feel that stare, and then you just turn.
Yeah.
See this old black
Yeah.
guy, and I give him the nod too. In response, but I'm like, my man, I see you, brother. Keep doing your thing, keep doing your thing. And then
Very cool.
as soon as I respond back, then his smile comes up on his face. I'm like, yeah, he's like, yeah, this young
You
man,
know.
he knows. I'm like,
He
yeah.
know. He know. He know what's up.
So I see the Mrs. Stones. She's like, hey, everything good? I'm saying it's always good.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Oh man.
Oh man.
So what made Germany stand out to you that you decided that this is it, like, after you were done with the army, or after you decided that you weren't going to continue with the army, that you chose to settle in Germany?
Germany. So I'd say like the biggest thing for me when I got out the army, that's a big transition too within itself for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got out, I was just like, I had this job interview in Hawaii, and it was like a really big job, paying a lot of money. And I was just like, I heard things about Hawaii. It's like it sounds good, but really, it's like you're on an island and you get island fever, and you might make money, but you can't really do nothing because you can't leave the island. And I was just like, I don't know if I wanted to start there and just like go all in and just do life in Hawaii. I was like, I've never been, I don't know. So I decided to travel first, and I went to a couple different countries, and I stayed there like as long as I could. And then just being gone for that long and just realizing the things that Germany offered me, I always wanted to stay in Germany anyway. But then going living in those cities, I was like, there's really cool things about those cities. Like I lived in Australia, I lived in Hong Kong, Thailand. But then I
Wait,
was just like,
wait a minute. You lived in Australia and
oh yeah,
didn't end up being trapped by those Australian
yeah.
women? Because
Oh, the
in the
Australian boy. Oh
Navy,
yeah, that's another.
what
Yeah,
I've
that's
heard
another.
about is a black
They
single
tried,
man moves to Australia, it's over.
boy,
Because all my
boy.
drill
They
instructors
tried.
got in trouble. They were like,
Boy.
the look on their face when they tell you about Australia, they're like, Australia, I would have made chief. Oh, I would have made
Yeah,
chief. But my ship pulled into Australia, and then,
yeah.
oh, that's why I'm never going to make chief. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, if you're on a boat and your ship goes to Australia, oh, you're going to have a great time, but you're not going to make
Yeah.
chief. I'm like, why you telling me that story? Like, oh, you need to go to Australia. You're black, you're single. Oh, man, you're not going to make it. I'm like, I don't want to go there. I don't think I want to go.
It's definitely.
They're like, Australians they love military men, especially if you're black. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay. I'm like, then I put in my mind, okay, I'm gonna go after I get out of the Navy, but I still haven't gone.
Yeah. It was an experience. definitely kind of something like that. But yeah, it's actually I left Australia because of that women thing. I was over. I was like, I was just like, I want to start life. I don't want to be caught with this women stuff. I don't want to do this. So always, like I said, Germany, because to me it was like the perfect mixture. It's slower, but it's central to Europe. It's not too far. Like Australia to go home to Florida, way too far.
It is.
Like Europe, it's kind of far, but yeah, it's on the other side. It's way too far. But from here, it's not really that far, and I love international flights. And it feels like everything else is still within grasp. You know what I mean? And it here for me, it doesn't feel like I'm stuck here. It feels like I want to be. If I went home, for me personally, if I was in America, I would probably never leave America again. I wouldn't have a reason to. And then I would buy different things. My mindset would be different. The people that I hang with.
Yeah.
So, ever since I was in Germany, just the feeling that I had, the people like not stressing so much about money and bills. They're healthcare stuff, like taking care of me and me being an immigrant and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of different things. It's just like it felt more like home for me, and that's why I chose to come and live here. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people will understand that if you haven't lived in different places, I never really like go vacation somewhere. I want to live there for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
say like 2 months, 3 months, just to see how it is, get the feel of it. And there's a lot of different countries that are awesome. And it would be my second, third choice, but Germany was my first because of those reasons. Like just it's just more relaxed and chill, but it's
Yeah.
also if you want to be in that scene, if you want to be busy, if you want to do entrepreneurship or have a good job or something like that, if you want to work and something happens, you don't have to people take care of you. Like even like with this COVID thing, like for me being American, I was like, I understand a lot of people. That's why in America they teach you like you gotta have savings, you gotta have a nest egg, you gotta like
Yeah.
build a little money on the side in case a rainy day, you know.
Mm-hmm.
In Germany, they don't know nothing about no rainy days because the government's gonna take care of you at the end
Yeah.
of the
That
day. So when I heard
the
like
safety
them
net.
not working,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they weren't working, but they created like this stimulus where they would get paid anyway, like 80% of their check for not working. I was like, in America, if you ain't working, you ain't work. You're not getting paid. Nobody's paying you, and it like my mindset was just like, you know what I'm saying? Like I appreciate being in Germany, but I was like, that's also kind of a bad thing. Like in America, boy, I gotta hustle. Like you
Well,
gotta
I
get
don't
it,
see
you
it as
know?
a bad thing. I see it as responsible government, because
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why it's they got it under control. It's what should have been happening.
yeah.
Even Canada did the same thing, and now they're talking about
Mm-hmm,
even starting a universal basic income in Canada.
mm-hmm,
So it's evolved to the next stage, and it's what
yeah.
we should be talking about in America. But it's always
Mm-hmm.
about trickle down. Give the
Yeah,
people at the top the money,
it's from the top.
and then they will give the people. I'm like, no, it hasn't worked in the 80s. It hasn't worked in the 90s. When is it gonna work?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, come on. Nah, don't even get me started on that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
I
I
feel
got
you.
one question to ask though. As a veteran,
Mm-hmm.
did you ever file for disability?
Disability, yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, because um in my time in the army, why another reason why I had to get out too, my back, I had really bad back problems.
Okay.
So like from running, like I was always a heavy set guy, but like running so much, like did my back really bad.
And
So I
those
do get
boots that we
disability.
wear, don't they're not really good for our feet either.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they're
So
horrible.
yeah.
They're horrible.
So
Yeah.
as a veteran with disabilities, how does the German healthcare system work for you?
Work for me. Well, for me now it's separate. So like I have disability, but it's not a lot at all. Um, so that's my American side. So I still have like an American passport and stuff like that. But now that I'm transitioning into being German, like I'm currently like an immigrant or whatever. Like
Yeah.
I have a visa, like a German visa. I automatic as soon as I got the visa, as soon as I have my residence here, I get healthcare. I get free healthcare. I get my courses that I pay for. I mean, the courses that I take to learn German, they're free. I can go to the hospital right now. I have an insurance card for free,
Okay.
and that's kind of how so the healthcare system is different. If I went to America, I'd be all on American stuff because I'm still American. But yeah, in Germany, it's like once you establish yourself and get a
Hmm.
visa here, like everything else is taken care of.
So
Everything else
as
is
a
taken care of.
the VA system doesn't have anything for you out there.
No, it might, but I don't need it because I'm not. If I was American, like if I was working on an army base or something,
Yeah.
and I only had like my American passport, then I would probably go through the VA. But
Okay.
because I'm living here, I'm going through all the German stuff.
All
So
right.
like their healthcare is like, like if you're coming to live here and all this stuff, everything you get it basically like I'm a German.
All
So
right.
it's like all everything is paid for. Yeah.
Okay. Just want to put that out there in case.
Hmm.
I know a couple of veterans will listen to this episode, so yeah, in case any
Hmm.
one of them has that thought process, and also we have lots of Americans who listen too, so yeah, they can
Yeah.
learn something, a thing or two from that.
That's what it's all about.
Yep. So still on Germany, Is there a
Mm-hmm.
sliding door moment in your life where instead of Germany, you get sent to another country? So let's say you're going back to when you were in the army. So instead of
Mm-hmm.
you being stationed in Germany, the army sends you to another country. Do you think you would have chosen to settle there?
Oh,
And what
definitely
country
not.
would that have been?
Definitely not. It's funny and it's weird to say it like that because you think about those moments. It's those small moments in life that change your whole life. So when I first, like if you know, in the army at that time, I don't know about now, but when you join the army, you know, you do your first. Oh yeah, I did reenlist, but you do your first enlistment. You know, so I did 4 years. That's what I did 4 years. Or no, I did 6 years. Can't remember. But after I was chose to reenlist again, after your first one, and if you deploy and stuff, you get a choice to pick where you want to go. And I'll never forget the same thing my recruiter told me is like, boy, if you go to Germany as a black man, boy, you know, you're gonna come back with 3 kids or something, boy. And I was like, dude, I don't want to go to no country because of that, first of all. Second of all, I was like, yeah, that sounds good. But I didn't know anything about Germany, you
Yeah.
know? And at the time, all I wanted to do was go overseas. I just wanted to experience another country.
Mm-hmm.
So the only places, you know, on an army base, I think it's like Korea. There are special assignments in Japan. There's only so many other places you can go overseas
I
at the
think,
time, but the big
yeah.
one was Germany.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I put Germany first on my wish list. But if I'm trying to think, if I would have went to Korea, I don't think I would stay in Korea. If I went to Japan, I don't think I would stay in Japan. Like I just think that yeah, I just don't see myself in those countries. Probably also too because I haven't like lived there. But after the Germany thing, if I didn't live in Germany now though, I would probably live in Thailand. I would live in Thailand
Mm.
because for me that was the best fit. I lived there for like a year or so, but
Oh yeah.
if I didn't come to Germany, I would have never came here. I would have never lived here. It wouldn't even be a thought in my head. And it's funny too, like even the YouTube thing, when I started it,
Yeah.
I didn't have know what direction I was doing YouTube. And at that time, like I think I was the first black male to talk about being black and living in Germany.
Wow.
And I looked at like I was doing like YouTube research, just seeing what I should do. And when I seen that, like I seen the black girl, you know, which is a YouTube counterpart of mine, and I was just like, nobody's talking about this, and I don't know, you know. And I was like, all right, well, let me just talk about it a little bit and experience it. But after talking about it, really after living here for like a couple of years, I was like, I just don't see myself anywhere else, but I just can't see myself in Korea. I can't. Yeah, it's weird. I don't think if I didn't come to Germany, I would never live here. Not even gonna lie, and that's kind of why I talk about it on my channel
Yeah.
because it's important for us people like just that look like us to see this. You know what I mean?
It's
Like
true.
I would have never came here. I wouldn't have known any otherwise, but I would have never come to live here. And yeah, I don't see myself living anywhere else actually. But if I didn't come to Germany, I wouldn't have traveled to other places. So yeah, I'd probably still be home. I'd definitely probably still be home.
That's why it's good to have your voice out there and feel the passion
Yeah.
that you talk about.
Hmm.
You talk with about where you are now, and yeah, it's also about educating our people and letting them know because there's
Hmm.
so much misconception that they have about Germany, and and
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw this documentary on Deutsche Welle, Afro in Germany. I saw it.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
did see that. I did see that.
I told
That
a
was
couple of
cool.
friends about
Hmm.
it, and a lot of people did not believe me when I told them about, because back in 1990, that's when my love of Germany actually began. Because I'm a big soccer
Hmm.
fan, and I've never liked England. And no,
Yeah.
not no, I have English family. Not I hate
Yeah.
people, but it's just the British Empire thing that I don't support.
Hmm.
I've never supported it, and even as a kid, I was still a kid then. And when West Germany was West Germany back then, and West Germany faced England, whole family,
Hmm.
whole house, we had a generator, so people came to our house to watch the World Cup, and everybody's like, "Oh, we're supporting England because England has black players," and
Hmm.
I was like the only person saying, "Oh, West Germany will win." because I'm supporting West Germany.
Mhm.
And it's like I'm in what? How old was I then? I think I was 7, 8, and
Mm.
it's like the whole what? Every adult like cussing me out, like how dare you support? Why are you supporting this country of only white people? They don't like black people, and and I'm like what? And so it was a little bit traumatic, but I was so happy because West Germany ended up winning and they won the
Oh,
World
yeah,
Cup,
they
and
won.
I used to celebrate like Jürgen Klinsmann, like yeah, I'll be jumping like that, and I love the German shirt. And I was treated like something was wrong with me because I supported
Mhm.
the Germans over
Yeah.
the British. And all the comic books about World War II that we had always, it was all, and all the stories that I saw about wars where like the Germans were always the bad people, everything was Germans bad, bad, bad. And I was like, so everybody from Germany is just bad. And that was just bad.
Yeah.
I never knew there were black Germans who existed then
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's all the
It's a
history that
whole
was
group.
presented to me until later on I start finding out, and it's like, hey, so but people kept telling me back then that only the British had black people, and then you start finding out that it wasn't all black and white like it was
Mhm.
then. And then so it's good that we have people like you on YouTube now talking, and then it's good that we have documentaries bringing out the truth and bringing those people's stories to light and showing that it
Yeah.
wasn't just like this. It wasn't just black and white
Mhm.
back then, and there's still a lot of work to be done, and people's stories need to be told. And
Yeah.
that's why I try to bring different voices and bring different perspectives and let our people know that hey, go out there and travel and see and have a taste of
Yeah.
it for yourself.
Yeah.
So now that I've mentioned taste, we got to jump into 3 topics quickly. Um, what's the best beer that you've had? You drink beer?
Beer? Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
gotta make sure. Okay, so what's the best beer that you've had? Is it German or is there a beer that beats German
Oh,
beer?
well, there's not even a question. And that's one thing I would put it to the death of me. Like you can I can swear this on everybody. German beer is the best beer I have ever tasted in my natural born life. Absolutely the best. When I tell you this, no, I'm sorry, I don't want to say it like that, but no beer in any other country I've tasted as good as German beer. Absolutely none. Absolutely none.
I'll,
You
I'll,
cannot.
I'll
I
have to
cannot.
agree
Yeah.
because my in-laws do this thing that is crazy. Every time I visit, there's like 5, 6,
Mhm.
7 different beers, and I'm like, man, when you guys
Yeah.
gonna stick to one brand? They're like, oh, Raphael, hey, this one, another one for you. I'm like, this wasn't the one I drank last time, but it tastes good. I can't even complain, right? I'm gonna drink it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you want another one? I'm like, oh yeah. And then, wait, what is this? Another
What is
beer
this?
again?
Yeah.
Well, this is not the same bottle. This is a different brand. Well, let me try it. It has a smoky flavor.
Yeah.
Oh well,
Yeah.
this is made by monks. Oh well, this tastes good too. Man, all the beer
Yeah.
tastes good. How am I gonna get a favorite? Oh, this is stout.
It's really
Like what?
I,
It's too much. It's too much. How come one country got so many good beers? Like, look, this
yeah.
is too. There should be a law against it. There should be a law against it. They all taste healthy. Like, there's so many. Like, nah, I be taking photos and like, nah, I got an album. There's so many photos, and every time I go, it's like brand new. I'm like, wait, how am I gonna do it? It's too much.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And that's the thing too. I feel like Germany is like the Amazon for beers. You know what I
Oh,
mean? There's so many different
that's a
ones.
good way to
They
describe it.
come from all different places, but
Yeah.
they're all so good in their own different way. Like crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Oh, my first
That's
night in Havixbeck, my so my in-laws they had some events to attend, so they left myself and Verena at home, and like, oh, Raphael, if you need something to drink, it was around winter time, so the drinks were in the back of the house. Like, oh, just go outside, grab a drink. So like, okay, it was all dark, but I just went out there, grabbed the first bottle I saw, and popped it open and sat down drinking. And then Verena just runs up to me and grabs the bottle, and she's like, I'm sorry, and then runs away with the bottle. And I'm like, the black guy has only been here for 5 minutes, and the last movie we saw before arriving before going jumping on the plane was Get Out. So I was like, okay, is this kind of too soon? I don't know. How should I feel? Yeah, should I? I don't know. But it was tea. I was expecting the problem to come in, not a beer. So and then she brings the same type of bottle back. So I'm looking at her like, what are you doing? Why did you grab my bottle? Why did you run away with my bottle? Is it poison? Or what? Is it Vladimir Putin type of thing going on? And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. You were drinking non-alcoholic." And I was like, "What? You guys? There's non-alcoholic beer?" And she's like, "Oh yeah." And she's laughing. And I was like, "Oh, you missed a good opportunity to play a good one on me. You missed it, but now it's too late. Now I know. You can't get me no more." Yep. So after that, every time I grab the bottle, I had to like turn it around and look. Oh, now I can read. Now I can read German. Yeah, I know alcoholic and non-alcoholic. I was like, oh, so they make the same for every beer. Wow, you're so thoughtful, Germans. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I learned my lesson. That first, I was like, nah, I don't suspect. You can poison me if you want to poison me. The beer tastes good. I'm gonna drink it and die happily. So, when it comes to food, what German food is your favorite, and where does it come from?
Oh, I would say, for me, my favorite German food is white sausage. So it's basic. I don't like, there's sausages that make so many different kinds of sausages. Like this is home of the sausage. You know what I mean? But the white sausage is like a breakfast sausage. And the thing, when I first had it, like the first time I went to somebody's house and had it, I was like, what is that? What is a white sausage and why is it white? That's like, what meat looks white? Like, I don't know any animal that puts out white meat. And I still to this day don't know what it's from. But basically it's made, you cook it and it has skin on top of it. And you gotta cook it like at a certain degree so it doesn't like pop open. You peel open the skin and then it's like a breakfast sausage and you eat it with like hot mustard.
Oh,
and it sounds really weird. I'm not even a mustard guy. I absolutely, like, if I get a hot dog, I don't want mustard in my hot dog.
Me too.
But like, it's such a, I don't know how to put, like, the taste, the sausage with the mustard. You got to think I'm American, so I'm growing up on cheese, eggs, and grits, and biscuits and bacon and stuff. I love that stuff, but this is like so gourmet. It makes me feel posh. Like I got to put my finger up. Like I feel fancy. Like, you know what I mean? But it's so good, and it's not even like, once you get, you know how you eat something that looks weird to you because you never really ate it before.
Yeah.
Once you get over the fact that it's white and you gotta peel it, I'm like, then it became the best thing ever to me. You know what I mean? And that's probably not the most German thing, but it's absolutely delicious. And it's something I would never try unless I came here.
Yeah, I don't think I've tried it. I don't think I've tried that yet. Is it a Southern German thing?
I don't know if it's German or Polish. It might be Polish, but yeah. But back in the day, obviously, like Poland, and Germany were almost like the same country. Like at that point, so old it's super good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty. So there's no way I'll have you here without asking about music, because I know you've been doing some stuff with music.
Okay.
But we got to know about your own personal taste in music. So
my own personal taste in music.
Yeah, and with you being in Germany, so I'm thinking, should I go with your favorite German artist?
Yeah.
You may as well introduce us to some German musicians or artists.
Well, I like all music. I like all music. I love all music. Even like right now, they're playing some rock stuff outside of here. I like all music. I listen to all genres, except for like heavy metal. Like I'm not that angry. But
yeah, me too. I haven't made it to that stage yet.
Yeah, it's like I personally like rock music and stuff. Like I can do that sometimes, with friends having fun. I think for me with music, if somebody else is interested in something else, showing, like, being a part of their interest makes me interested. You know what I mean? So it's like if somebody likes the opera, I can go to the opera if I go with somebody who really appreciates the opera, because then I can try to like, okay, so what are we looking for? Like, what's interesting about it? And then I like doing stuff like that, and I like doing different things,
Yeah.
But here in Germany, my favorite artist is this rapper guy named Crow. He doesn't really rap anymore, but it's
The guy with
I
long
being in
hair?
Germany. Nah, he wears a panda mask.
Oh,
He's a
okay.
rapper and he wears a panda mask.
How you
But
spell his
he
name?
Crow, CRO.
Oh, okay.
CRO. Yeah. But he makes like, it's like rap music, but like the rap here, it's either like super like gangsta or it's like fun. And he makes like fun rap, and it's not like too explicit or something like that. And it's fun, And I took a challenge myself. I started listening to more German stuff so I can learn German faster. So that was a big deal for me. So I remember I what's it called? Remembered. God, English is getting hard now that I'm learning
Hey,
German.
that's
But
a good
I
sign that you're learning German properly.
yeah. But yeah, Jesus. It's not remembered, but it's like I learned all of his lyrics for his song.
Wow, that's good.
And yeah, so then I did it like in a video and I recited the song. But now my it's like a YouTube goal of mine. Now, just because of YouTube, I want to see if I can be a legit American YouTube rapper in Germany speaking German.
Wow.
It's like for YouTube, you gotta have goals. You know what I mean? Like otherwise, you're just making videos for no reason. So I started making videos for that reason, and actually, like one of the big rappers here, like shared my reaction video on his story and stuff. It was really cool. But that's my new goal. So I'm thinking like 2021, 22. I wanna rap in German just to see if I
Hey,
can do it. Why not?
I believe in you, man. I believe in you.
Yeah.
I believe in you. Look, it might sound it might sound funny right now, but trust me,
Yeah.
you
Oh yeah.
I believe in you. You got something going on. That's yeah. Now I've been too lazy with my German learning, but I think my
Mhm.
daughter will be the one to teach me in the long run. But yeah, I'm very
And when your daughter
busy.
gets older too, you're gonna learn. And that's how I'm kind of learning too. Because like because like for my daughter, we teach her, we do English and Spanish. I mean Spanish. We do English and German. So she's on it with both. So I started learning with her, and like she keeps me on my toes. She'll say a word, I'm like, what is that? And I look it up. Okay. She ain't gonna be talking crap about her daddy when she get older. Oh, not happening.
I know
Not
mine is already doing it right now. So yeah,
happening.
she's way ahead of the curve.
Mhm.
So yeah, I could do this podcast all day with you because you're just a fun
Yeah,
person to
true that.
talk to. But
Yeah.
I'll have to. I think this would be a good place to
All
bring
right.
it to an end on. And so the final question I'll wrap up with is something to leave the audience with. It could be a word of advice or just a quote or something from your favorite artist or a book that you've read or just something
Mhm.
inspiring that you just want to leave the audience.
Okay, yeah, that's easy. I think the biggest thing for me, just to bring it all around, just like you said, um, doing like right now, I'm basically a full-time YouTuber. I'm trying to figure this out, trying to figure that out or whatever. But the goals that I've gotten, anything that I've ever done, I didn't realize what I wanted until I started traveling. And I
Hmm.
think the huge thing with traveling, when I was young, I'll never forget there was one story, there was one moment in my life that happened that it kind of changed me forever. I remember seeing like this older guy, and we were at the gas station, and I was really just sitting in the car. I was waiting for somebody to come out the gas station, and I'm sitting in the car, and I see this old guy approached by this younger dude. And this younger guy's like, yo, man, like, you looking to buy a car? I got this one car right here. Like, I'm selling it for $800. It's like, yeah. It's like, okay. And the old guy's like, okay, what do you want? He's like, yo, man, the car has like air conditioner. It has this, it has that. It has, blah, 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 blah. I'm just trying to sell it really quick because I got to do something. I forgot what it was. So the old man looked at the young guy and he was like, dude, I'm 60 years old. Like, what do I want with a car? Like an $800 car. He's like, at my age, like, why would I invest in something like this? If I had $800 to just throw away right now, I would take a trip to Paris or to here or to there, and I would do this. I would do that for a week or something, and and have a good time, and then come back, and still have money to spend. Like, why would I want to put money in your car? And at the time, it was weird to me because I was like, shit, man. Like, if you would ask me, I would buy your car. Like, that's a
Yep.
good deal. But I didn't understand the importance of traveling and seeing different things to change your mindset.
Yeah.
At that time, like I was like being America, like a black kid in America growing up. The first thing I wanted when I joined the army for my $20,000 bonus was like an old school Chevy. Just to say I had one. The first thing I wanted to do when I got some money was to buy some big rims, to buy this and get that, to make it seem like I'm living bigger than life when I'm not.
Yeah.
The big change that came in my life is when I left America and I seen how other people live, like going to Thailand and seeing how poor people are, super poor, but they're happy. It's one of the happiest countries in the world because they have that sense of family, because they actually appreciate the little things that they get. Going to in Hong Kong, being their country starting to now, you see how like the riots are coming, being
Yes.
oppressed by China, and how they have the sense of community and they appreciate everything they got. Same thing. Going to Australia and realizing that I'm not at home anymore, like nowhere close to it. So now I have to start on my own, and like I don't have that comfort of like being able to just call my brother or my mom to help me if I don't have money or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's the big thing with traveling and getting out of yourself is to have a bigger perception of life. And just like we said before, with that mindset of like, oh my God, I'm the only black person. Like, I never thought like that once I started living here. Living in a country where they don't care. It was so foreign to me. It was so weird. And like I said, like I love my country to death, America, all day. But you see how we keep repeating the same thing. We're repeating. It's like we're making the wheel again and again, and we wonder like, what's the problem? Like, obviously there's a problem. Like, there's the people, how we think. You got to get out of your own bubble and see how people are. In the army, I met people that never met a black person before,
Yeah.
and then they tell me, hey man, you're really cool for a black person. My parents raised me to be racist, but coming here, like, I meet you, and I've always tried to be that, like a good role model to black people. It's like a burden that you carry. My mom talked about it before too, but it's a burden you carry. Like, I want people to look at me and be like, you know what, black people aren't that bad. You know what I'm saying? That's my goal when I meet random people that aren't black. You know what I mean? Like, that's my goal, and always put out a good perception. But I didn't realize this until I started traveling and seeing that other people think differently, and it's okay to think differently. But you have to get out of your own comfort zone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To realize this. And I didn't realize how American I was until I left America.
Yeah, that's
You
it's
know?
true. It's
And
true.
yeah, that's how it is. So that's a big thing I would say, is just like, anybody, if they can, it's not traveling, it's not even about just like leaving and going have a good time having a vacation, but really take that time to think about who you are in relation to the rest of the world, and how you can better yourself, or how taking bits and pieces of the other places and putting it into your repertoire will help you in your life become a better person. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
just beautiful and powerful, especially when you mention black people carrying a burden. I think it's something that we do everywhere, no matter where we're born, where we were raised. It's one thing that
Hmm.
subconsciously we are trained to do, and we're all trying to be ambassadors uh, for the next generation, for those who
Yeah.
have been before us. And I
Hmm.
was listening to Don Lemon's podcast earlier in the day, and he was the episode on does Black Lives Matter in sports, and he played a clip from Jackie Robinson in 1963, talking at a civil rights movement meeting or protest. I can't recall which one. and he's, in Jackie Robinson's own words, he's talking about a police officer's knee on a black woman's neck
Mm-hmm.
in 1963. And
Yeah.
we know the problem, but we just don't want to address the problem. We just go around the problem, and that's what we keep having in America. But in other places, we see more of an effort to address the problem, and it's
Mm-hmm.
an issue of how they address the implementation that we can have a discussion on. Is it perfect or not? But there was never a perfect solution. But there's more of an effort to tackle it, unlike here where there's always like, oh, let's dance around it instead of
Mm-hmm.
have
Yeah.
that discussion. Because I always mention my first time I went to a museum in Munster. Excuse me. I went to a museum in Munster, and I was surprised when I read the World War II history, the stuff that was in a German museum, and they didn't sugarcoat anything about the Nazis. And I was like, this is not, oh, some bad people came and some bad people did this,
Mm-hmm.
and then the good people, and they put
Yeah.
the truth, and you see the whole truth. And
Everything.
it's not like, and
Yeah.
it didn't even start with just the Nazis. They put the whole town's history there, and you saw some
Mm-hmm.
ugly things that happened in that town. I'm like, wow, this is what history should look like. And you're learning
Yeah.
something, and you're like, okay, these were where mistakes were made, so we do not repeat
Mm-hmm.
these mistakes again going forward. And that's what history is
Yeah.
supposed to look like. That's how you
Yeah.
address it, and that's all we are asking for. Not we are not threatening anybody, and that's why we don't need to carry a burden on our
Mm-hmm.
shoulders all the time. And if that scares
Yeah.
anybody, then you need to ask yourself, why is that a threat to you?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. It's very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
So
That's
uh,
powerful stuff right there.
yeah, thank you, brother. Well, all thanks goes to you too for coming on the podcast. So please plug yourself in for those who are not familiar with you, where they can find you and how they can follow you. And I'll add all that to the show notes, please.
All that good stuff. Well, I'm
Yes.
Kris in Germany. I'm American that lives in Germany. Like currently, I'm pursuing a career as a filmmaker. Right now, showcasing all the beautiful stuff about Germany in a very cinematic way. If you want to check me out, it's just Soldier of Life on YouTube or Kris in Germany to see like the fun stuff. Yeah, that's it.
All righty. Be sure to follow him, and I'll add the links to the show notes, and he'll be tagged on all social media also. And we'll definitely have to do a part 2 down the line, and because
Oh
there's
yeah.
more beautiful stuff for us to talk about and cover. And I'll definitely let you know when I'm coming to Germany. I'll probably be next. We'll be next. We're supposed to come this year, but we moved it to next year. So it'll be, yeah,
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
next year. But whenever we are
We
allowed to
gotta
get
do
out of
part 2 when
America.
yeah. We gotta do a part 2 when I become a German rapper.
Oh, hey,
Become the
hey, you can feature me in your video. I don't know if I'll do the dancing, but hey, I got a
I
that
got
broad stomach now. But hey, I can sit in the corner and just make signs.
too easy.
Well, I can't thank you enough,
Too
brother. Appreciate you for coming on the pod
Appreciate
again. Hey, all pleasure and love, and keep doing what you're doing and excelling. And thank you again.
Gotcha.
All right. Thanks for listening to White Label American. If you enjoyed the show, we'll appreciate if you rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. If you have any questions, comments, or have someone who will be a good guest on the show, or you want to be on the show, send us a message at whitelabelamerican@gmail.com. And make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at White Label American. Thank you for your support.